Okay, hey everybody, Dan Fitzpatrick here, and it's Friday the 16th. First of all, you're looking at the home page here. Want you, if you haven't already, it doesn't matter if you're a member or a non-member, I want you on this list here. Register for the pre-sale of my book, Seven Deadly Trading Mistakes. That's going to be probably in the next couple weeks. The reason it's has been a little bit delayed is because I keep making it better based on things that I'm hearing from people in my pre-launch group, and you guys are awesome. So anyway, all you got to do to get this, click on that. This is what you get. You get a nice little blurb here. This is an AI enhanced picture of me. Get early access. Boom. Type in your name. Look at me. I've already registered, which is a good thing. Okay, so um, there you have it. Okay, do that, please. I want you on my team. So let's go to Cameco. Now, I put this on the list, on our active trade list back here. So I want to analyze the trade. Peter, one of our venerated members, been asking me about this for a while. Dude, didn't you put this on the list? Didn't you put this on the list? And I forgot to actually add it to the list. I never took the chart annotations and put them on the list. So anyway, so I'm doing that now, but I want to really kind of analyze. I want to analyze the trade here because, as it turns out, I think it was a pretty good one here. First of all, when you get in at the right time, which is here, squeeze, look for these guys. They're everywhere. Uh, Volatility squeeze at the 50-day moving average, which is flat, heavier than average volume. This is not a one-day wonder. This isn't a fake out that's going to wind up at 80 bucks tomorrow or something. This is institutional buying after a period of low volume consolidation. This is exactly what we look for. And so what happens? You're in this stock. It's not going to go up in a straight line, although this certainly seems to be, right? So in this case, this did kind of break the mold. It did go up in a straight line. And so this is where this trade is now on the active trade list. It's actually one of the bigger gainers. You guys can see where our active trades are. And by the way, if you're a non-member and you're looking at this, guys, I put these out in real time and give you where you're buying, where your stop should be, give you the rationale for it, all of that. And so these are real trades that members make, and we're crushing it. So with Cameco, this is now, what is this number? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on our hit parade, and we got a pretty long parade. So this is working out really well. And what I did was just today, when I was talking on our live session, I said, hey, let's go ahead and protect profits now. And so this stop had been clear down here. Now I use the 8-day exponential moving average, which is right now at 109.57. And so I put the stop just a little bit below this 8-day EMA. You could say, well, it's too close to the 8-day EMA. Yeah, but the stock is too far away from the 8-day EMA for me to care about that. By the time the stock might pull back and actually give me a sell signal, several days will have passed, unless it does something goofy, which there's always that possibility. But several days will have passed to where just on Monday, the 8-day EMA will be clear up here at 111. And then Tuesday, it'll be up here at 113. And so the fact that this is right at the 8-day exponential moving average it doesn't mean anything because it's irrelevant right now, but it does give me a sense of where my risk is, how much I'm risking in order to continue to make money. So anyway, guys, stay with this stock. If you're a member, hopefully you're already in it. If you're new and maybe you didn't get in on this trade, frankly, I kind of feel like you're too late to get in. There is a way, and I talked about this in our video our premium video today about getting in and how you can use today's intraday range to lock in a manageable loss. But in this case, I just kind of feel like you're a little late to the party, but you're not too late to learn that this is exactly what you want to look for. By the way, this pretty similar to this, which also worked out well. Really choppy, but ultimately this worked for about 30%. Okay. That's all I got for you. I hope you all have a great weekend, and let's go get them on Monday.